If this is what the trade market actually looks like for Boston, they may have an issue. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. This time of year is absolutely fantastic for baseball fans everywhere. Trade rumors, free agent signing rumors are traveling everywhere left and right, and all of them are leading to really interesting baseball conversations. But once in a while, there is a trade or a proposed free agent signing rumor that absolutely gets your blood boiling, and that happened to a lot of Red Sox fans yesterday when someone proposed a trade between the Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds that flat out made 0 sense. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break down that proposed trade. We're going to talk about why it doesn't make sense from a Red Sox point of view, why the Red Sox would be interested in the Cincinnati Reds player to begin with, and why they could want to bring him to the Red Sox. And we're also going to be talking about what a more realistic trade may look like between the Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds. Before we do, Turkey Day is right around the corner, and what comes with Turkey Day is the best shopping day of the year, Black Friday. But you don't have to wait until Black Friday to get all of the best Red Sox merch at a really discounted price, because Foco is starting Black Friday early. From today until November 28th, you can get a ton of really great Red Sox merch for a big discount on their website. This includes 25% off hoodies like the one I have on right now that are more like blankets and absolutely fantastic for the wintertime, and up to 50% off on other items like Red Sox related shoes, Red Sox hats, blankets, toys, and more. If you are looking for the best Red Sox gear for friends, family, or yourself this holiday season, there is no better place to go than Foco, Foco.com. And there's no better time to go to Foco than right now with their deals they're having for Black Friday. If you are interested in shopping for the holidays for friends, family, or yourself, click the link in the description below to head to Foco.com, or click the link in the comment section as well. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so the proposed trade that we are talking about today between the Reds and the Red Sox was presented by a Twitter account by the name of Natty Sports, a Twitter account that follows all of Cincinnati sports, has a decent amount of followers, 20,000 on Twitter. And one of the things that they mentioned is that the Red Sox were interested in Red second baseman Jonathan India. Now, this was actually confirmed by some national reporters that the Red Sox had been talking to the Reds, so this part we know as fact. But the other part of this, I'm not entirely sure how reputable Natty Sports is. I'm not sure if this is actual legitimate information or not, or something that they proposed, but this is where the trade gets absurd, because actually targeting Jonathan India by the Red Sox doesn't seem like that crazy of an idea and could actually fit in. The crazy part of this trade is the fact that they believe that in order to get Jonathan India from the Reds to the Red Sox would have to give up Tanner Houck and then some, right? That's where the crazy part lies, the and then some. Tanner Houck on his own is a little bit of an overpay for Jonathan India, but for the Red Sox, there is some intrigue in Jonathan India, who has had his ups and downs in Major League Baseball since joining Major League Baseball in 2021, where he won the Rookie of the Year award and had a 113 OPS plus. Since that year in 22 and 23, a lot of Jonathan India's game has been eaten up by injuries. In those 2 years combined, he's missed 102 games, and because of that, his statistics have fell off a little bit, leading to his 3 seasons in Major League Baseball looking something like a 255 average with a 350 on base percentage and a 419 slug with a 105 OPS plus, or about 5% above league average productions over his 3 seasons as a big leaguer. Still, the potential is there for India to be a really solid offensive producer. He doesn't chase a ton of pitches, he doesn't strike out a ton, he walks a pretty decent amount, and he does have home run potential, hitting 21 home runs in 2021 and hitting 17 home runs in 2023. If he could stay healthy, he could be a really solid bat in the Red Sox lineup. The other part of this is obviously defense, right? The Red Sox want to get better defensively, and Jonathan India hasn't exactly been a defensive gold glover at second base. In fact, over the last 2 years, he's had some pretty rough defensive seasons. He had negative 14 defensive runs saved in 2022, making him one of the worst second basemen in Major League Baseball defensively, and in 2023, he had negative 7 defensive runs saved, again making him one of the worst defensive defensive second baseman in baseball. But at the same time, too, a lot of this could be traced back to injury. His one healthy season in 2021, Jonathan India was a league average defensive second baseman according to defensive runs saved. So if he could stay healthy, he may not be a hindrance to the defense that he has been over the last couple of years, which may lead to the Red Sox interest. So if we're looking at why the Red Sox may be interested in Jonathan India or are interested in Jonathan India, is Jonathan India a perfect fit? Absolutely not, right? But I don't think there's any true perfect fit right now, either on the trade market or on the open free agent market, that fits every single box that Red Sox fans and the Red Sox want to check. With Jonathan India, it's an interesting case because Jonathan India is only 27 years old. He's only played 3 seasons in Major League Baseball, and yes, he has had injury history already, but he's young. He's young and still able to bounce back from those injury-plagued seasons and hopefully get back to what he was in 2021. If the Red Sox believe that they can allow him to stay healthy and get him back to the production that he had in 2021, he could be a really solid piece for the Boston Red Sox. Maybe not as a long-term second base solution, but because he's young, because he's cost-controlled, he could be a perfect stopgap between the Red Sox and their minor league prospects, right? He could be a guy who, if they believe can remain healthy, could be a solid bat in the lineup for a couple of years until either Nick York, Marcelo Meyer, Nazan Zanatello, Mikey Romero, one of those guys is ready to take over as the everyday middle infielder for the Boston Red Sox. So while Jonathan India may not be a perfect solution to the Red Sox problems, the potential is there for him to be a really solid addition to this Red Sox team. So it makes sense that the Red Sox are engaged in talks with the Cincinnati Reds, but it doesn't make sense for Tanner Houck and then some. So what would a actual legitimate realistic trade for Jonathan India look like from the Red Sox, and is it something that they could get done? Honestly, there's really no point in breaking down the proposed trade by Natty Sports. Tanner Houck and multiple prospects, they specifically mentioned Wilkerman Gonzalez as a potential fit with Tanner Houck, is just way too much to give up for what Jonathan India has been able to do on the field in the last 2 years and how long he's been able to stay on the field for the last 2 years, right? Just flat out too much. But there could be some validity to a 1-for-1 trade with Tanner Houck and Jonathan India. It's still definitely a major overpaid by the Boston Red Sox. Tanner Houck value-wise is much more valuable than Jonathan India. He's a cost-controlled pitcher, which is at a higher premium on the open market than a cost-controlled second baseman. Tanner Houck last year did have his ups and downs for sure, but he still finished the 2023 season with one of the best breaking ball run values in Major League Baseball. And on top of that, if Tanner Houck can figure out how to get through the third time through an order, he could be a really solid 4 or 5 starter for a Major League club, right? There's a lot of value there with Tanner Houck, but at the same time too, when you're looking at this from a Red Sox perspective, it is an overpay, but you're overpaying from an area that you have a lot of depth in. There are a few young, talented pitchers on the Boston Red Sox who fall into a similar category as Tanner Houck going into the 2024 season. Garrett Whitlock, Hunter Crawford's in that same category. To some degree, Nick Pavetta's in that same category, and you've got prospects like Wilkerman Gonzalez and Luis Perales. The Red Sox aren't going to be giving up Tanner Houck in an area that they are scarce in. In fact, they're giving up Tanner Houck in an area that they are very deep in depth-wise, right? So while this trade may not make sense value-wise, just straight looking at the numbers, it is an overpay by the Boston Red Sox, but sometimes doesn't need to be a perfect value even to make this trade. It works out for both sides. The Red Sox get a guy who could be a stopgap second baseman until your more highly touted prospects are in the major leagues, and the Reds get a controllable young starter who can play both in the bullpen and in the back end of the rotation. If it works out for both sides, this may make sense. But at the same time too, the Reds may be flat out hell-bent on trying to get multiple prospects back for Jonathan India. If the Red Sox really want to make the Reds happy and try and give them multiple big league players who can slot in to the major league club with the Cincinnati Reds and make a difference, this trade might make more sense. And what I put together here is still an overpay by the Boston Red Sox, but again, it's an area where you are dealing from a lot of depth, and that is Josh Winkowski, who is sort sort of in a similar category to the other guys that I mentioned. He might be a step down, but Josh Winkowski had a really solid season in the bullpen. The Reds could use him as a bullpen arm, or they could stretch him out and see if what he learned in the bullpen can be translated to a major league rotation. And you add in Manuel Valdez to that, just sort of sweeten the deal, give them some offense back. He had similar defensive metrics to Jonathan India. While again, it's still an overpay by the Boston Red Sox, this trade might make more sense in the eyes of the Red Sox. You're not giving up Tanner Houck, who I think has a higher ceiling than Josh Winkowski. You're still giving up a major league ready arm that the Cincinnati Reds could use in both the bullpen and the rotation, like Tanner Houck, and you're getting another prospect on top of that if that is something the Reds are interested in getting for Jonathan India. I think ultimately from a Red Sox point of view, right, your options are a bit limited at second base. You've got a couple of options on the free agent market, Whit Merrifield, Tim Anderson, but on the trade market, there aren't really a ton of guys that could fit in at second base that are readily available like Jonathan India is. Gleyber Torres is the guy who the Red Sox had talked to the Yankees for, but multiple big-time national baseball reporters have shot that idea down, including Jeff Passan. Jonathan India, again, is not a perfect fit, but I think ultimately for the Red Sox, it comes down to two things. If they believe that Jonathan India's injury history is something that is going to remain a history and they can ensure that he stays healthy through a regular season, and two, they believe that they can take his bat and bring it back to what it was in 2021, again, it makes sense for the Red Sox. It is a guy who is cost controlled, a guy who is going to be making just over league minimum next year. He's a guy who has the potential to be an impact bat towards the bottom half of your order, and he's a guy who can hit from the right side. And again, a fully healthy season from Jonathan India resulted in a league average second base defensively. This would make sense for the Red Sox if they believe that those things are going to happen. If they don't believe that those things are going to happen, then overpaying for a guy like India does not make a ton of sense and could end up being a really bad trade for the Red Sox. This is a really, really risky move, but Craig Breslow has mentioned that, hey, I'm going to want to take these risky moves because if they pay off, they work out really, really well. So I don't know. I think this could be something the Red Sox are extremely interested in, either a 1-for-1 trade with Tanner Houck or a 2-for-1 trade with Josh Winkowski and another prospect to give the Reds that sort of bigger package that they're looking for. I think this could be something that the Red Sox are interested in, and there's a reason there are rumors right now that the Red Sox are in talks with Cincinnati, right? Maybe it doesn't get done, maybe it does, but they're at least interested in the idea of Jonathan India. And again, if we're truly talking about this trade proposal, and I was a betting man, I'd probably tell you that this did not happen, that the Reds aren't looking for Tanner Houck and multiple prospects, that the Red Sox aren't willing to give up Tanner Houck and multiple prospects. But I will tell you, this led to a really interesting conversation. I want your opinion. Let me know in the comment section down below. 1, do you think this trade proposal is as ridiculous as I do? 2, would you trade for Jonathan India? Is this someone you'd be interested in? And 3, if you are, what type of trade would you be willing to give up for a guy like Jonathan India? Let me know all your thoughts on this absurd trade proposal in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe and that like button. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. I wanted to give a really special happy Thanksgiving to everyone who watches these videos. I am so thankful for everything this community has grown into over the last year. I cannot thank you guys enough for being here with me and talking Red Sox almost every single day. You all mean the absolute world to me. So happy Thanksgiving to every single one of you. Don't forget, Foco's Black Friday sale is in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one and being here as much as you are, and I will see you in the red seats.